Yeah, very good morning from Thailand, Bangkok, Thailand. So yeah, I'm Susantha Jayasinghe. I am technical specialist of Asian Disaster Preparedness Center. Today we would like to share with you our ADPC's initiative in the Asian region to strengthen the early warning system as well as the anticipatory action related works. The quick introduction to our organization, Asian Disaster Preparedness Center, actually located in Bangkok, Thailand. So we have been functioning actually over the last 37 years with the focus for the different thematic areas. Basically the risk governance, urban resilience, the climate resilience, health risk management, preparedness for response, then the resilient recovery. So these are our main thematic area with the cross-cutting, maybe the poverty and livelihood, and maybe regional transbound cooperation, as well as gender and diversity. So we have several maybe like several maybe regional the country officers in this maybe several countries in the region. And also we are partnering with especially for the government agencies, the communities, regional organization, academia, and as well as the development partners, and to bring this disaster risk reduction and the climate resilience in the region. First of all, I want to highlight maybe the ADPC's strength as well as their initiative in the region for implementing the end-to-end multi-hazard early warning system. So we are supporting actually basically we are providing technical assistance as well as the capacity building on the following areas, especially for the early warning gap assessment and as well the appraisal development, then the multi-hazard risk assessment to covering all the hazard exposure and vulnerability, all the components, then the development of the end-to-end early warning system for the multi-hazards, then the early warning system climate forecast application for the relevant sectors, community-based early warning system, early warning capacity building program, then the especially for the technical training related to the modeling, as well as the support countries and organizations to establish this early warning system as well as the related application. Then the development of the procedures, especially for the standard procedures. Then the emergency operation centers, as well as the disaster management information network development and distance support development, bringing this Earth observation data as well as the other big data components to support the decision making purposes, as well as the finally early warning strategy development. So these are the main key areas ATPC is supporting the countries in the region. As you know, maybe there are key four key elements in the early warning system. So ADPC is used to support the countries to strengthen these all four key pillars of the early warning systems. The first one actually, so we are very much supporting the countries to understand the risk, maybe the past risk as well as the future risk. So to incorporate in the climate projection also to understand the full risk of the in detailed risk assessment to cover the whole country as well as the maybe different administrative level towards the city or the urban scale. So we are very much good in supporting the countries for this early warning or the risk assessment components. Not only developing these data sets actually with the support from the government as well as the other technical agencies. So the next key thing is the sharing the data especially for the decision makers or the policy makers. Sometimes they are non-technical people, so they want to maybe use or utilize this data for their day-to-day decision making. So ADPC is maybe developing the different online tools or like offline tools to support this decision making. You can see here one tool which we have developed with the support from the University of Salford, UK. So we have developed this very interactive or like maybe the 3D supporting tool for the decision making purposes especially for the data sharing as well as decision making purposes, incorporating all the risk assessment data. So this may be the countries or these agencies, they can incorporate their own data as well to the system to take proactive decisions. And also the ADPC is very much supporting building the capacity in the technical agencies like national and hydrometeorological agencies, especially over the region. We are providing the capacities to bring in the new state-of-the-art technologies, this with the modeling, maybe with the modeling, climate modeling, as well as the hydrological modeling, bringing the new data sets like maybe seasonal forecasting data, sub-seasonal data, to improve their day-to-day weather forecasting as well as the seasonal and sub-seasonal weather forecasting to support the early warning systems. Not only like maybe the short-term with the forecasting improvement, but we are supporting the countries to improve in their climate change projections as well, to develop the climate change projection for the long-term decision making. So over the years, actually, we have supported many countries in the region, and the national scale as well as the regional scales climate change projection development has carried out to support the different maybe the development partners as well. Here you can see some kind of maybe several examples which we have developed to support the Asian Development Bank for their maybe the activities implementation in the region. So when come to like maybe the first, maybe the second pillar actually in the early warning system. So the monitoring and the forecasting the key component. So over the years, so we have developed many decision making tool using this earth observation data as well as the other big data to support the or to forecast or monitoring the different hazard. Like here you can see the tools which have developed for the couple of the countries, maybe for the drought monitoring and forecasting. Similarly, so we have developed the tool for the flood, maybe the cyclone forecasting as well. And as well as you can see the maybe the first two diagram on the climate change projection data sharing that we have developed for the climate data portal for the decision makers. Here also you can see a couple of maybe the early warning system on the drought monitoring and forecasting which we have supported for the Cambodia, Myanmar, and Vietnam. So these tools are operationally used in the region for day-to-day decision making. When come to the early warning assessment, actually the first thing is the assess the gaps and needs of this early warning system. When we maybe the strengthening the early warning system in the countries, the gap assessment and need assessment the key thing. So we have maybe supported many countries in the region to assess their maybe the existing capacities as well as the gaps as well as needs to maybe improve in the end-to-end multi-hazard early warning system in these countries. You can see here some of the diagram as well as the reports which we have developed for the Myanmar as well as the Vietnam. Very recently, we finished one project in Pacific Island, maybe to cover in like 7 Pacific Islands. So we have done like a multi-hazard early warning system assessment, so supported by the World Meteorological Organization. So at the end of this project, actually, so we were able to develop several reports, maybe about this, maybe their capacity on the end-to-end multi-hazard early warning system. What they are currently using, actually, these reports to acquire different funding, especially for the Green Climate Fund, GCF funding. So they have used this, maybe their findings to acquire different funding to strengthening the early warning system in their maybe the island countries. Actually, so this is one of the key area IDPs is working the maybe the improving or the modernization of the national hydrological services. So very recently we finished a project, maybe the modernization project in Bangladesh. So with the support from the World Bank, so we have supported the Bangladesh Meteorological Department to modernize their services, especially for the observation network, or the modeling network, the data sharing them, and the capacities, improving the capacities. So this project already ended. So now we are aiming to do the similar kind of maybe the modernization program in Sri Lanka Meteorological Department as well in the coming year. So very maybe a few years back, actually now the we are encouraging countries to move from the traditional forecasting to the impact-based forecasting. So that is our new area. We are working with the countries. So what we are doing here actually, so this is a concept from the World Meteorological Organization. So with the support from them, actually, so we are trying to bring in this concept to the countries. So countries is still using some traditional approach to maybe to develop this monitoring and forecasting. But now we are working with the countries to bring in this impact information as well as to this their forecasting. So basically, what we are doing here, we are trying to move in from the what the weather will be into the what the weather will do. So that is our approach with the countries. So maybe the people or the maybe the communities or non-technical people or decision makers, they can take really maybe they get the benefit in the forecasting information to really support from the maybe the communities to minimize the disaster risk. When we are doing this impact-based forecasting, so the first key thing is like the maybe the assess their readiness of their capacities, how they are maybe how much they are ready to implement this impact-based forecast in their countries. So we used to do the this impact-based forecast assessment first before bringing any technology or before maybe the building their capacities, similar to the early warning system assessment. So over the past several years, so we have supported 3 countries, especially for the Cambodia, Laos, as well as the Vietnam. You can see here we have developed several maybe the readiness assessment report as well as the guidance documents. So what they can use for the coming years to bring or the improve their impact-based forecasting capacity in the countries. So this slides of them maybe our approach or maybe how we have engaged with the different stakeholders to different with the different stakeholders in Vietnam to bring in this impact-based forecasting system to the Vietnam country context. Similarly, so we have developed the readiness assessment as well as the action plan for the next 5 years time to develop or improving this impact-based forecasting in the countries. Here, actually, very important thing. So, not only the assessment which we have done, so we have helped the countries to develop the decision-making tool. So, this is specific tool which we have developed for the Vietnam National High Meteorological Service. So, they can use this online interface, maybe to disseminate this impact-based forecasting for the maybe they are focused region, especially they can focus for the city level as well, not on the country scale or not from the provincial scale. They can focus the like a very local level, like urban scale as well, through this distance support system. So this kind of information actually, so what are the maybe anticipated impact, what are the action they need to take, the people who are living in the particular area. So this kind of detailed information they can maybe provide through this maybe the distance support system. For example, they can mention that maybe which road in this particular city, which road and which maybe how much going to be inundated due to the high rainfall. Those kind of detailed information they can share through this platform. But the very we need to keep in mind to generate this kind of very detailed information, we need to do like a very detailed risk assessment first. So actually, when we are working with the Vietnam, so first actually maybe we work with them to improve their like maybe risk assessment results of the products over like couple of years time. So then only after only we were able to develop this kind of detailed decision support system for the dissemination the information or the like to information to the general public. So towards the end, actually, so maybe to developing to enhancing by enhancing the early warning system as well as the impact-based forecasting in the countries, we are now moving toward to the supporting the anticipatory reaction. Anticipatory reaction means so before any disaster happen. So if we can maybe do maybe right action, I think we can drastically reduce the disaster impact. So that is the main concept here. So there are here also there are 3 main key pillars actually to support the anticipatory action. So ADPC basically very much is supporting the first pillar, define the triggers, maybe understand the risk information, improving the forecasting part. But at the same time, we are supporting the maybe the respective maybe agency in the countries to understand what are the exact actions we need to take into before the disaster happen for the to considering the maybe disaster nature or the different hazards, as well as we are supporting the countries to understand what are the maybe the financial mechanism that we can maybe adopt to take necessary action, and as well as the maybe improving this anticipatory actions. So at the same time, maybe to support the other pillars of the early warning systems. So we are maybe the improving the disaster preparedness, as well as we are maybe try to improve their the mitigation responses capacities as well. You can see over the years, so we have maybe the engage with the different stakeholders, like national stakeholders, as well as the regional stakeholders to bring their capacities in terms of disaster preparedness and response. Other thing actually, so we are very much in supporting the cross-cutting area, like especially for the gender and social integration. Maybe my colleague Pin will maybe in next presentation she will provide the detailed information how we are supporting this cross-cutting area in strengthening the early warning systems. The lastly, actually, so I need to highlight ADPC is very much keen on the working on the maybe built-in capacity of the different stakeholders. It's not maybe technical as well as the non-technical stakeholders to improve their understanding, especially for the early warning system as well as the anticipatory actions. Yeah, that's all I have. Maybe I will pass to my colleague for this next presentation. After these two presentations, we can go for the discussion.
Thank you so much, Susantha. So then now, since Susantha already give some glimpse that when we disseminate or work on the early warning for all or impact-based forecast, then the element of the people that gonna get the most impact, that is really important. So my part is that to elaborate more how we mainstream the gender equality and social inclusions in the climate action and early warning within the Southeast Asia. So with that, then I have to control. Sorry. Apologize for that. So before that, let me also introduce. This is an example of the project that we are mainstreaming the gender equality and social inclusion into it. Here is Southeast Asia is funded by USAID together with NASA, and the motto of this project is to connect space to the village to utilize the remote sensing technology, big Earth data to work in this 5 thematic area, which is including weather and climate resilience, water security, agriculture, food security, ecosystem and carbon management, and also the air quality and health, which ADPC, Asian Disaster Preparedness Center, is the hub for the Southeast Asia. You can see that we also have another hubs across the global as well. So how we mainstream the JC, you can see we start from the main core of our framework of the project. So we make sure that all the outcomes here, you can see that outcome 1, outcome 2, outcome 3, outcome 4 from our project. The cross cutting is to focus on increase the integration of the JCs in the service design and delivery. And with that, we're gonna make sure that whatever we are doing is gonna support and mainstream within all our outcome. So our strategy is that we would like to harness, bring all the power of the satellite data, geospatial informations to really hear all the voice, make sure that the data informations will be able to have an inclusive accessibilities, make sure that people can understand, not just only the scientific users, to make sure that a community can understand, access, and be able to take actions. We have been working, utilize the remote sensing technology, special informations to identify the different type of the hazard, like floods, drought, deforestation, forest fires, and PM2.5. But then the questions that we now have been receiving is that the people at the communities or the marginalized people, indigenous communities, elderly, they kind of like still questions that will my house be flooded? Where should I go? I don't understand. This information is too technical. It's like each pixels, this thing. What does it mean? So with that, we feel like our work effort that we should now really consider the different needs at the community level. And with that, we start with to analyze the gender equality and social inclusion. So this analysis we conduct to really understand what are the gaps, what are the needs. So then you can see here from the left, we come from the findings, then lead to the recommendations, and those recommendations we select the right recommendations to develop the action, the gender action plan, to make sure that it's not just only the plan, but there will be the actions that we will make sure that we can achieve those mainstreaming Jesse into our program. But it's not just only that your effort, how we track it, then the methodology of the verifications, what are the indicators? So the work on the MEL indicators has to play the role here also to make sure that we can capture the success and how we can improve this gap on the gender inequalities. And here are like a glimpse example of our Jesse analysis recommendations toward to rely on our four outcomes. So just to make it quick, like our four outcome, basically that outcome one, make sure that the regional platform, we consider the women leadership, we have the representative of the local champion in the regional committees. So then their voice will be heard, not just only at the committee, but bring it up to the national level also. The second one more into the utilize and leverage, bring the private sectors to invest and have this co-partnership together to make sure that the activity can be sustained further. The third one, basically, that to develop the tools, applications, the informations that should be inclusive enough to let people be able to access and understand, and that's what we have been developed various of the two, which I will give you example later. The lastly of the outcome four is to increase build up capacity, which I think we have been doing heavily, but now we need to really also tailor the materials, the way that we conduct the training, the approach to really meet the different needs, not just only at the technical officer. So with that, from those analysis, we now also consider that, hey, we should really kind of like raise up awareness and hear the voice from the front line. So we conduct last February called Inclusive Climate Action Workshop that we gathered, I think almost 160 from the community across the Southeast Asia, bring the local champions and also the marginalized group, indigenous communities, the representative of the women, elderly, from the three thematic area that we are working on: the anticipatory flood drought, on the PM 2.5, and deforestation, land use and cover change. During that inclusive climate workshops, we kind of like create a storyline 5 days continuously. It was really fun. We bring like an innovative of the approach to make sure that our workshop is interactive and really give the space for the communities and the marginalized people to uh, tell their voice, so then we can hear it. We use the art to kind of like let the children or kids draw what environment change. So that kind of thing that we did to capture the local knowledge, indigenous knowledge that we also capture during the workshop. And then it's not just only that, we kind of like develop the storyline, make sure that we also integrate the plan as well. The informations and then the gender equality and social inclusion lens uh, is not will be able to sustain if all of these effort will not really work together with the local government authorities at the national government authority as well to make sure that these work will be able to connect the dots together. Here is the give example of our achievements that we made a few months in the quarter two. For example, that we also start to work together at the ASEAN Secretariat that bring the expertise and uh, how to say introduce how to use the climate informations not just only from the remote sensing side but also any climate informations and work together with the ASEAN Secretariat. Here is the body that work heavily on the women and children to build up capacity and make sure that our informations that we produce will really help those people who need the most and other also especially I would like to highlight on the outcome tree that you know that there is a need and lack of this aggregate of the Jesse data set informations and also the vulnerability data sets to really help to enhance the risk assessment and that also the important informations data that we try to utilize the state of art of the remote sensing technologies and also the big earth data to capture those informations and make sure that we can integrate into the different type of hazard as well. So then I would like to give you now the example of our gender actions across the service that we are working. Start with the anticipatory action for disaster and climate. So with this, we also like design who are the right stakeholder that also from the gender equality and social inclusion analysis to analyze the stakeholders and identify as well. Here is example that how we also kind of like integrate the Jesse information vulnerability into our applications. Here is the rainstorm trackers, which we use the object-based detection approach to classify the severity of the storm. This is the information from the GS map data, um, and we use that approach to classify the level of the storm. But you can see that we also integrate the informations of the vulnerable group, the different age range, number of the critical infrastructure. So once the user click in the high risk prone area, this is for the flood, then they can see and have some idea of what could be the potential impact to the vulnerable people or the critical infrastructure. And this has been also worked alongside together with the Mekong River Commission's body as well. Uh, so here are kind of like specific actions that we try to utilize our informations. Then we work with the Asia Indigenous People Pack, work together with the indigenous community and make sure that we help them to enhance capacity of understand the climate informations together with their local or indigenous knowledge, and that will be kind of like a pathway that we make sure that they can understand and be able to access which channels. We also have to understand some of the country, maybe this social media, maybe Facebook or maybe like group or telegrams, which way that we can make sure that we can disseminate this information to the more users, especially the vulnerable people. So it's not just only that, that's for the flood and drought, for the air qualities and the air pollution. I think that's become more serious issue, especially in the Southeast Asia regions. It's become the severe transboundary haze issue across the country. So with that, our work also produce and provide information on the PM 2.5 and also all the information of the health impact also. We also tag team with the different stakeholder target with the children, youth, marginalized group to help them to enhance the knowledge capacity to be able to cope with this issue. So here is not just only the web applications, but also the mobile app. And we also plan to now work furthermore social media channels to make sure that we learn that the elderly or the people that perhaps doesn't have mobile phone, what can we do to make sure that they can also access information. And we also support the leadership, youth leadership, the kit. So here you can see that we also train them, bring them to the kind of like co-develop, build their capacity to make sure they understand different level of the PM 2.5. And our success is that their parents, they want to know what their kids doing. So the kid kind of teach the parents. So the parents also get the capacity build up also to understand the PM 2.5 information. Now, lastly, on the forest protection service, we know that now the land use change, the forest also reduce. How we gonna really make sure that the people can have the better understand to protect the forest. So we also adopt some of the approach we call 3D participatory mapping. I will explain further, but here are the applications that we also utilize the big earth data, geospatial informations to provide the different data sets of the land use land cover change. Here are the 3D participatory mappings that we actually gonna do with the communities, engage the youth and the forestry communities to have a agreement agree together which area that they can utilize the resources from the forest or which area they cannot, they should protect it, all those kind of work and how integrate the climate informations for them to understand better and cope with this change. Last one, the data. So I'm talking about the data of the gender and also vulnerability data set to enhance the risk assessment. So this is the our applications that we utilize the big earth data captures all those elements, and this is an example that we already integrate into the flat flood guidance system within the Mekong River commissions to enhance their flat flood bulletin to provide this potential impact information. But what we learned that to disseminate this kind of risk information, we really need to be careful and work closely with the stakeholders to rather than provide the better information and not provide the panic information for them. So our collaboration move forward on this mainstreaming JC into the climate actions. We also now collaborate with the Red Cross, support the leadership to kind of like bring the empower of the women and the youth on this, and together with the UN Women to empower at-risk community in the Southeast Asia with the climate informations. With that, we would like to make sure that we bring these minds to our regions, utilize our geospatial informations to leave no one behind and cope with the climate change. With that, we are happy, Susantha, and I'm happy to get any suggestions, feedback, or exchange the experience and questions. I hands over back to you, Rishi. Thank you.
Thank you, Pin. Thank you, Susantha. I think we are 11:44, so why not we take a couple of questions from any participants. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Yes, Erin, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I always have a few questions. So maybe I can open it up and then others can jump in as well. I have a couple of questions I wanted to ask, actually. The first one is, I wanted to understand better the connection between some of the, just thinking about the weather and climate side of things that you discussed. What is the connection between the agencies, the Met agencies or weather services and the communities? I'm asking this because we heard a presentation earlier in the Africa Community of Practice from the South African Weather Service, which is doing managing a project called Wiser, which is an early warnings for all initiative, and they have a big community engagement program. And the colleague that was speaking there talked about how it was a very big shift for the Weather Service to actually be involved in community engagement, and that they're meteorologists, they're thinking about, weather and long-term trends and things, and they're not used to being in the community and working with people. And so the co-development aspect of the work and that collaboration was very new. And he was saying initially people were very nervous about it and a little bit uncomfortable and didn't know how to manage that. I wonder if you've had any experiences like that, and if it's a bit of a cultural shift, or if there's do people need to think about their work a little bit differently? So that's and then the second question I was just going to ask is, what are some of the lessons you've learned? Like if somebody were just taking up some of this gender and social inclusion work, what are some of the things you would advise somebody who is new to this and taking this up for the first time? Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Erin. Actually, yeah, related to how we are engaging with the communities, and the technical agency like hydrological services. Actually, our experience so when we are working with this National Hydrological Services, means they are technical agencies. So they don't have in our region actually. So usually these National Hydrological Services, they are not directly connected to these communities, but they are disseminating this information to the National Disaster Management Organization or the disaster management centers, and maybe the linking with the provincial or district as well as the community, the disaster management bodies or the agencies. So the reason, maybe other issue actually, this may be the National Hydrological Service or the technical agency, their information or the forecast information is too much technical information are there. Basically maybe the community or the non-technical people, they cannot maybe really understand these things. So what the ADPC's approach as to convert this technical information for the layman language and to understand the understandable language by the communities. So that's why now we are, as I mentioned during my presentation, that's why we are now encouraging the countries to go through this impact-based forecasting, to introducing this how we are changing with this the technical forecast information into the action, like what kind of action they need to take, what kind of impact they can expect during during the forecasting time. So that's how we are trying to build their national hydrometeorological capacities also to change their the approach, especially the warning dissemination. So at the same time, so we have like good present actually to improving the community-based early warning system, as well as the very much linking with the communities. So to approach these communities actually, so we need to usually in our region we need to go via the disaster management organization. That's the mandated organization or the body in the in most of the countries in the region. So that's how we are doing.
To also supplement Susantha on that, stakeholders with the communities. So that's why perhaps we also need to kind of bridge the gap. So it's like bring them together. That's why, for example, our ongoing activity, we work with the community, but we also involve the local authority as well to be part of it. Now we also learn that they start to work together, come up with the development of the community-based climate adaptation plan. So with that, it's kind of like the climate informations, the hydromet agencies, the National Disaster Management Office, or others kind of like together, but that also kind of like an initiative from us that create kind of like a platform to work together to understand the climate information. The warning level also very important. We learned that if they kind of like receive directly from the hydromet agencies, right? 3 day forecast is gonna be heavy rain. They somehow a little bit reluctant to kind of like, hey, if it's not really happened, then why you tell us? But once we start to work with them, ask that, okay, so usually how you kind of like observe the nature, how you prepare yourself, then they start to tell us a lot of local knowledge, their indigenous knowledge, right? They perhaps observe the nature like the fruit that maybe gonna bloom maybe in the middle of the tree, that means that it's gonna be a heavy flood or more water this year. Then this is for example. Then I asked that, is it happen every time like that? They said, maybe sometime not, sometime yes. Then I said that, yeah, it's the same with the uncertainty with the forecast information from the your hydromet agency. You see, they can accept those uncertainties when they talk about their local knowledge. But once the government provide information, they're like, no, it should be very accurate like this. Then they start to understand, and with that kind of build slowly understand that gap using their local knowledge, the way they understand, develop the relationship with the climate information from the hydromet agencies. And we try to build also kind of like very user-friendly infographic, perhaps like a number of the ants or the way that the trees bloom or the different like, but that also need to be scientific as well. But that way link with the different ratio from the our forecast information, with that is really help. The other thing that we learn also that the community leader is very important because we cannot really make sure that our warning could reach out to everybody. So at least they believe, they trust the community leader. The very remote communities like marginalized indigenous, they believe somewhat a bit the spiritual leader. So we start to kind of like get engaged of these local champion leaders, also women as well, like different age range, and they will be kind of like our like the local hub, let's say, to hand in hands they talk, they kind of like build the capacity, expand further. So that's what we learn by doing also during the process to kind of like bridge this gap uh, on that. And that is also the Jesse mainstreaming come to play a role as well, Erin. Yeah.
Thanks very much. I should say that I should have said thank you for your great presentations too. They're really, really fascinating and informative. Thanks.
So I also see Martina raising your hand. Martina, please go ahead.
My first question, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Loud and
great,
clear.
because I had problems with my audio. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I only joined the congratulations of Erin for the presentation. Great presentation. You already answered probably partly my question, because I'm curious and wonder and would like to know more about how you develop strategies to engage communities. You already said that involvement of the champion leader of community is very important, but is there any other important issue in the strategy how to approach, especially I'm thinking about indigenous communities? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that good question. Not easy at all. That's why we start with the analysis on the gender gap. Because I would say that to really engage the diversity of the group of the people, we really need to understand that different needs relate with the different type of hazard that we're gonna work with. So with those kind of like extensive analysis across Southeast Asia, we get kind of like the like a very sense essentials of the recommendations, right? So when we get those, we got 15 recommendation across the different kind of like hazard and 10 country within the ASEAN. So that we use that to develop the strategy action plan. And with that, through this development, we also kind of like engage the community stakeholders that have ongoing projects, have needs, and bring them together and kind of like 5 days that we work on those different groups, elderly, youth, indigenous community to really get kind of like understand what they need, what their capacities, even like which kind of channels that they now already access information. It's a lot of rich information, to be frank. Like the culture also impact a lot. So we have to kind of like prioritize which accessibility channels that we can pick up, for example, and that for the community strategy plan, for example. So I would say that those kind of reach of the different analysis and workshop, understand the different needs, help us to kind of like cook together and come up with the strategy plan. Then we kind of like pick up because we cannot do every community in 10 countries right now. So we prioritize the high prone community area for different of type of the hazards as the pilot study first, identify the right stakeholders at the regional level, national level, down to the community. So we also work together with the CSO and other body as well to test that strategies and help them also to enhance throughout of our 4 outcomes that we aim for. We will. Is that answer your question?
Yes, yes, thank you. Cultural aspects, language probably, and all is very important. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.